All right. Hello, hello, hello. It is your girl, Princess P. And today we have a great show for you as we kick off our Road to 40 series. Before we begin, let's go ahead and let the rest of the ladies introduce themselves. Ladies.
I'm Lottie Dottie. What's up?
It's your girl, Lady T here.
It's D Felice. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sisterhood Sunday.
Happy
Hello,
Sisterhood
ladies.
Sunday.
Hey.
It is good to see you all. And might I add, looking lovely. Okay. Y'all look so good. I'm excited. Girl, I got some sexy friends. If y'all don't tell y'all friends that are sexy or cute or the bomb or whatever y'all want to call it, y'all not friends. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Big ups to the women. Big ups to the beautiful Black women.
For sure. All right. So with that, on this beautiful Sisterhood Sunday, we're going to kick off part 1 of our Road to 40 series. So this series is going to be about our journey to our next milestone birthday as we navigate themes such as motherhood, dating, careers, self-care, amongst a bunch of other things. Obviously, as Black women approaching the age of 40, we are entering a pivotal moment in our lives where we get to showcase the knowledge that we've gained over the years from invaluable experiences. We get to share the wisdom from the challenges that we've overcome, yet we get to continue to look forward to acquiring a wealth of more knowledge that we get to gain over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Hopefully we get to see 50 years. I'm excited for that. But our journeys thus far has really shaped us into the women that we are today. And the possibilities for our future are endless. And I'm so excited for them as we approach 40. We've been doing this thing together for 25 years, and I'm looking forward to us celebrating this milestone and continuing, to do it for another 25. So while we know that we'll face many societal pressures that are gonna want us to conform to certain expectations, I just want to make sure that through this series that we remind ourselves that our age and definitely our race does not define us. Let us instead take that age, race, and let it serve as a testament to our brilliance, to our resilience, and the unique perspectives that we bring to each other, but to the world. Let us embrace this journey with confidence and let our lights, baby, shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. I should have had a little segue to play. But that is our Road to 40 series. I'm excited for the things that we are going to be getting into. Part 1 today is about motherhood. Motherhood, and hopefully we get to touch a little bit on careers. But motherhood is really big, obviously for women and for us in this group. So I'll just kick it off really quickly since I'm the only one that has not had the opportunity to experience being a mother. I do not have children. Some of it has been a personal choice. Some of it has not. Like my stance on motherhood is, I've wanted kids. I think I would be a great mother, but I've always been very keenly aware of the fact that if I were to have a child, I would like for it to be in at least the best circumstance possible. I know no situation is perfect, but I grew up seeing, family members, friends, struggling, and that was just not something that I wanted to put my family through. That wasn't something that I wanted to put myself through. So a little bit of a selfish act, And then just over the years, like, dating, I honestly didn't feel like I was ever with a partner that made me feel, I guess, safe enough to take that risk. There were signs, or now they calling them red flags, that, it just didn't make me feel like I want this person to be the father of my kid. And I just wasn't really willing to take, that risk. So, I personally choose not to do it. I think a little part of me does still have some hope, especially when you see people like DeBrad and Janet Jackson, and there's like
E.
Eve, like, a bunch of other people that have had, kids well into their 40s. It's a possibility. And I'm just gonna, remain steadfast. And, if I find a partner, hopefully a husband, but a partner that's willing and that makes me feel safe enough to, make that decision, then I'll do it. But if not, I'll continue to love on my nieces and nephews and my godchildren, which, are your kids and some other friends' kids. And, maybe I'll look into fostering or something along those lines. But that's kind of, my motherhood story.
Since I was the first parent within our group, um,
Oh.
definitely wasn't playing. Definitely wasn't playing. But I have three children, all girls, ages 16. We have 11, and then we got the little woman that's 6. Um, I am a single parent, never been married, unfortunately, because I feel that I am a great catch. I'm a great woman, but that's another story for another day. But motherhood has definitely been challenging, especially since, you know, I've never been a mother before and I am doing it on my own. Luckily, my children, they're they're not as bad, and the situation isn't as bad as it could be, but we do have our struggles. My teenager, I guess with this current generation, they feel that they should be able to speak up, which I admire, because I think with me growing up, that really wasn't an option. Usually in Caribbean households, or those households back in the day, if you had something to say, you pretty much just kept it to yourself. There was no space to be able to communicate whatever you're feeling. And I try to do that, but I'm not always consistent. So, that is something that I am working on as a mother. But approaching 40, I'll be there in what, like a year? I'll be there in like a year.
Year and a half.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
about a year and a half. We'll be there in about a
Yeah.
year and a half. And it looks scary for me, honestly. I never thought that I'd be a mom alone. But, looking towards the future, it is something that I don't know.
you
Sometimes I
still
say I
hoping
want
for it.
another kid. Sometimes I say I don't, because three is enough and I'm already alone. And I'm scared to bring another child within the world that I will essentially be raising by myself again. So, I would love to have another baby, but shop isn't closed, even though it's been suggested many times to close it. I've always held out hope that maybe one day I'll be able to have a loving, complete family. Um, but until then, I guess like right now, I mean, I'm just learning as I go. My kids are teaching me a whole lot, and you know, I'm learning along with therapy. Is helping me to be able to,
Mm.
get through these stages that we are experiencing, because everything is new, especially with having a teenager. My daughter is getting ready to enter her junior year. So, these are a lot of things that are important to her and also important to me. I don't want her to follow in my footsteps, but her life is her own and I can't control her. And I want her to be able to go further or farther than me. So,
Okay. So I'm hearing for you, I guess the biggest challenge is just doing it alone
mm-hmm.
and that being kind of overwhelming. Obviously, that would be overwhelming for anybody. And
Absolutely.
then just navigating that kind of the teenage years, so to speak. And then just balancing that as you move into this kind of milestone, birthday for you. And like, what does that look like?
Yeah. And
Okay.
everybody who knows me knows that I always put my children first. In everything that I do, I think about my kids. As far as taking a career path, it's always been what works for my children. So, it's a lot to navigate. It's a lot to think about. It becomes overwhelming, definitely overwhelming. But you know, we'll figure it out. I'm been pretty resilient thus far. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I have two children, a boy and a girl. I knew that from a younger age that I knew I wanted a family. I knew I wanted kids because I grew up being an only child. So I knew that when I did decide to have kids, I knew that I wanted my child to have a sibling. And the funny thing about it is, I was married when I did conceive both my children. And unfortunately, their dad and I are no longer together, but we do our best at co-parenting. My daughter, who is 11, and my son, who is 9, turning 10 this year. It is a challenge, like Lottie Dottie said. It's a huge challenge, especially when you encounter things in your life that are very unexpected. Like my son has type 1 diabetes, and he was diagnosed in August of 2021. It has been a huge adjustment in our lives to navigate, to make sure I stay on top of it, to make sure that he gets his injections 4 times a day for his meals and for the lasting effects of his insulin to carry him throughout the days. I had my children in the order that I asked for them. I asked for a girl first, and I got my girl first, and then I asked for a boy second, and God granted me that, and I'm grateful for them both. They teach me a lot. Being a parent and being a mother, a single mother, is very difficult. It can be very difficult, especially when you're going through financial hardships, but you still have two other beings that you still have to care for. So you have to always put them first in the decisions that you make in your everyday life. I do feel like it's a constant adjustment being a parent, being a mother. No parent is perfect. There is no such thing. You learn as you go. You will make mistakes as a parent, but the thing is to continue to move forward, because that's all that you really can do. You learn from the mistakes that you have made in hopes to not make those same decisions again, because whatever decisions you are making affects your kids. And children are usually very observant, and they feel every emotion you feel. They can sense when you're sad, happy, when something's wrong, especially when you're around each other, obviously 24/7. They know you as your spirit, and you know them as your kids' spirits. And you all feed off of each other. You feed off of each other's energies. It can be frustrating. It can be a lot of laughable moments as well. You take it in stride. You try to all of it, and to know that you're doing the very best that you can do, especially as a mother, because we are the pivotal, I would say, human beings for them to look up to. They'll know what to expect, like as my daughter gets older and she decides she wants to have children somewhere down the line, I can only hope that I'm teaching her the correct tools to have in order to do that if she decides to do that. it's overall a pleasurable experience. I just try to take things one day at a time because that's all you can do. Too much is overwhelming. You just try to put your best foot forward and continue to push even through your hardships.
Okay. So for you, you talk more, about, I mean, you touched a little bit on about being a single mom as well, like Lottie Dottie, but you have this extra challenge with your son being type 1 diabetes, which is a whole, another commitment. But you talked about that transition of going from having support with a partner and then that being like topsy-turvy and now doing it by yourself with all these added challenges, type 1 diabetes, doing it by yourself, financial hardships, like a whole shift in the household, like totally different. And then adding that into trying to approach this milestone right for yourself and and trying to find that balance.
Yes, it's a struggle. It's very frustrating. Things are constantly changing, especially with my son, because being diagnosed with diabetes is a beast in itself, and you have to stay on top of it. It's a must. It's literally a death or not situation. If you don't, then yes, you or he can eventually end up in the hospital. And unfortunately, we were in the hospital about a week ago. To make a long story short, because he was extremely dehydrated, and I do believe he probably missed a dose or two when he wasn't in my care. And so that put him into the hospital, but he's recovered. He's back to his normal self now. And it's just a constant every day. I got to stay on top. I have to make sure that he's taking injections. I have to observe. I have to monitor him. He's very independent, though, to be 9 years old. He does his injections himself, and I watch him do his injections. He is on a, if it makes sense, and I can break this down in later episodes, on a carb to insulin ratio, which means that as me being the parent, I have to calculate his carbs for every meal. So anything that is considered to have carbs in it, I have to calculate. And he gets his insulin injections according to the carbs that he is consuming. And then in addition to whatever his blood sugars may be, which they're supposed to be in a certain range. And that's given to me by the doctors. So it's an everyday challenge. Even in school, I have a great team at his school, his nurse, the principal, everyone. They all look after him, which gives me a sense of comfort and ease to know that when he's gone for those 7.5 to 8 hours at school, he's monitored. And his nurse and I have a great communication. She calls me whenever it's something detrimental that I need to know. And then we just kind of work our way through it from there. But we're handling it the best we can, given the information that we do have.
I have 3 beautiful children, 2 boys, 1 girl, 12. Yeah, excuse me, because I got mom brain for real, y'all. Okay, so the oldest is 12, the middle is 7, and the youngest is 4. So I personally, and I didn't know, I just shared this with my friends this year that I never wanted to have kids.
Blown.
Yeah, I never wanted to have kids because my mom was a single parent. Well, let me rephrase that. She was not a single parent. She got married when I was in the 5th grade. So I did grow up with my stepfather in the home, and then I saw my dad whenever he picked us up every other weekend or whatever the case was. But she was basically a single mom, and I saw the struggles that she went through with raising 2 girls. And raising girls isn't easy. Even back then when things were cheaper, they were still expensive for two girls. You have two girls, 3 years apart, that had needs, and it was expensive. So I saw what she went through, and I just said I never wanted to have kids. So
Here
fast
we are.
forward, here we are, 3 kids later. I had my first experience with motherhood when I met my husband in 2009. He had a daughter when we met, and we moved rather quickly. So we met like in the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the year, we were pretty much moved in together. So, and he was a single father, so she lived with him, and when we moved, she moved with us. So I had that experience with being a mother. I didn't mention, so yeah, I am married. I do have the help in the home, but I feel like as the mother, I do the bulk of the work. So my middle son has a medical condition called short bowel syndrome. And when he was born in 2015, when he was born in 2015, he was born prematurely. And with that, he was in the hospital for 6 months. He was in the NICU for 6 months. Totally unexpected because that pregnancy was pretty much fine. I'm not really sure why I went into preterm labor, but I did. And he had something called necrotizing enterocolitis, or for short, NEC, which throughout time they just call short bowel syndrome. And those years, I would say 2015 to like 2017, were really difficult. We almost lost him when he was about 2 or 3 weeks, and he had like so many surgeries. He has nurses in the home. He's been in and out of the hospital numerous times. Like with him having that medical condition, it just made motherhood a little bit more difficult with everything that I have to remember, doctor's appointments, the different types of doctors. So we have a gastroenterologist, we have a primary care. At one point, we had a respiratory. What did they call the respiratory doctor? I don't remember. We had a respiratory doctor. So going to all of those different appointments and navigating them was really difficult because pretty much I was the one that was taking him to those appointments. I would say like 90-95% of the time, because I had the leniency at my job. And so I would say that motherhood is really difficult for me. Being like I didn't crave wanting to be a mother. Not that I don't love my kids, because I totally do. And they bring me joy when I'm having moments, but it's just something that just wasn't on my radar. So my plan was to go to college, get my bachelor's, get my master's, and move into my career. And it did happen in that order. So I got my bachelor's immediately after I got my master's, and then while I was in my master's program, I found out I was pregnant. So I completed the program, I got my degree, and then right after that, it was motherhood. And so it didn't really go as planned, and I was a little bit bitter about that, but I got past it. And I've just been navigating it ever since. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. I would say that two is enough. And the way that I can explain, well, not explain, but so initially we had two children, which Takia is no longer with us, but Takia and Brayden, they were totally different from Bryce and Trinity. Takia and Brayden were angels compared to Bryce and Trinity, because they never gave us the issues that these two little ones, like, I don't know where they came from. Like, they're very opinionated.
They came from you.
They're very opinionated. They talk back, like, especially that Trinity, like, she does not hold back. And Bryce either, like, they don't hold back. It's just like, you can't have that. But why? And okay, Bryce, we'll talk about it later. But I want to talk about it now. He doesn't say I want to talk about it now, but it's more like,
it's the
okay,
new
but
generation.
I want this game. Okay, Bryce, you'll get the game later. But I want this.
He's a
like,
warrior.
He doesn't back down. And Trinity is just like 4 going on 14. Like, I can say, I mean, I guess, but I like, Brayden is still quiet, and he was always been quiet from. And I can say that even though Takia and I had our issues, may she rest in peace, I feel like we would have grown to have a better relationship, but I can say that she was never like these two. Like these two, they're so vocal, and I'm just like, I have to take my breaks from them. Hence, they're not here right now. They're with Granny because they do not back down. I thank God that I have the job that I have because they have been very supportive from day one. I've been with my current job for 9 years and some change. And when I gave birth to Bryce, they were there from the beginning. Like anything I needed, or I took time off to be with him at the NICU, they gave me the time that I needed. And then when I had Trinity, I think when they all found, I don't know about you guys, but I was at work when I found out I was pregnant with Trinity because the day before, I was supposed to have my tubes tied the day after.
I remember that day.
And I got up because I was in a good mood, I went I dropped the kids off to school. At the time, it was just Takia, Braden, and Bryce was going. I don't know if Bryce was home at the time or if he was going to daycare. Nonetheless, I dropped the kids off. I went to my appointment to get my, pre-surgical labs done or whatever the case is. I was in a good mood, okay. And I went to do my labs. I went to work, doing my work at work, whatever the case is. And with the hospital that I was going to have my surgery at, they have something called My Chart, so you can see your results as they come in. So I'm looking at all the results. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then they have something called HCG levels that they check when you're pregnant or when you take a pregnancy test. So I'm looking at this number, and this number is significantly high for a negative pregnancy test. And I'm like, why is this number so high? So
but it said negative?
No, it's a number. It's a range. I'm expecting it to be negative because I'm supposed to have tubes tied the next day. Okay, so I'm looking at this number. I'm like, dang, this number is high. So I go back into My Chart, and I had previously taken a pregnancy test for a different procedure, I think last year. That number was like 0.00, negative.
Low.
So low. And I went back, I'm looking at this number. I'm like, this number's high. I said, am I pregnant? I said, I think I'm pregnant. So I called the doctor's office, and I'm like, I'm supposed to have my tubes tied tomorrow, but I'm looking at this pregnancy test, and it says I'm pregnant. She said, okay, no problem. Let me look you up. It's like, what's your last name? I'll give her my last name. She said, ooh. She said, yep, you're pregnant. Just like, I'll just go ahead and cancel your surgery for tomorrow.
No. We got to figure something out. Keep that on the books. I'm going to call you back. Something ain't right.
And I'm like, I literally...
Did you cry?
I cried. I and I remember I called while I was on my way. I remember everything in order. I went to my boss and I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, wait. And so I went to lunch.
Facts.
I went to lunch and I was having the whole day was just like blown for me. I went to lunch and I was supposed to I did have lunch with 2 coworkers. And one of them she went to the nail shop first before we met up for lunch. And so we're talking and she's like, oh, this color nail polish is so pretty. Like, I really love it. And I'm like, I don't want to say her name, but I'm like, I'm trying to tell you something. She's just like, this nail color, I love it. And I'm like, listen, I'm trying to tell you something. And so I tell her I'm pregnant. She's like, what? And yeah, like, she's excited. I'm just like blown.
Everybody excited with you.
Right.
When you told us, we was mad.
Right.
Where we was at.
Yeah. Exactly. I called my mom, she's excited. And then I called my husband. He was asleep at the time because he worked overnight. And he was just like delusional. He didn't really catch on until like later. He had to call me back. But I was like, I didn't know if I was sad or happy. I just knew that I wanted my tubes tied for a reason, because having 3 already, and the one that had serious medical conditions, bringing another one is like, that's 4 kids. And then one with the medical condition, that's like 5. So
you were done.
I was done. But thinking back on it, still can't believe that I got pregnant.
The day before your tubes.
The day before I got my tubes tied. But thinking back on it, unfortunately, because the kid passed away, I think that God implanted that for a reason. Like, he wanted us to have a little girl because he knew what the future held. So yeah, little Trinity is here, and she
is a terror.
Yeah, she's like all the kids combined. She's like a little princess. She's like a little tomboy.
She mean too. That's why
I can't even say she not.
That's why her and Lottie Dottie little one is close, because she mean too.
That Aquarius connection. That Aquarius connection.
Okay. So yeah, I know I can't relate to none of this. I mean, a little bit. Like, the closest I've come to motherhood is keeping, nieces and nephews for the summer. I run a little summer camp, baby. And I could tell you, them little 5 or 6 weeks, and I go all out. Like, they're not just up here to be up here. Like, no, they taking swim lessons. They going to the library reading program. They got chores. They got a bedtime. Like, whoo, baby. Listen, I get it. I ain't never seen so many good night songs and tuck little burritos in, and my office got turned into a film studio, and every day I had, art drawn for me, and they listen. I said, this is a lot, and they only want you to do something. I remember I had my one little niece, and it was out, y'all know I work. I was working, you talking about 15, 16-hour days. And, my grandma's up here, and I come home, and the little one on the couch, she up. I'm like, why is she still up? Like, my grandma, she don't want to eat. And her belly I had her. And she said, you make the tea. And she only want you to put her to bed. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I had to make her tea. I had to she wanted me to sing her the song. She wanted to sleep in my bed with me. She wanted me to do this. And it was just like,
dang, bro.
But it was like, oh, okay. It's like, all right. And, we go and we have, when she was up here, it was her and then 2 of my nephews. So she was the only girl. So I had to make sure we had girl time. And, she wanted to get her nails done and this, and she was ready to pick out her color. And I was like, this is too exhausting. This is too much, because she started expecting it. With me, I can just let my hair go an extra week or 2, and I don't have to get my nails done right away. But baby, she was like, it's Saturday. I know I got a color in mind. She done went on YouTube and found the color she wants to take to the nail salon. I'm just like, you got to give me a little minute, okay? I'm still, asleep, but she wasn't hearing it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the thing about motherhood is like, these kids don't know. And I really didn't understand this until I became a mom, because I'm like, okay, Mom, it's the weekend. You said we were going to do this. You said we were going to do that. Like, I'm ready to go to the mall. I'm ready to go, go to the movies or whatever the case is. Like you said, I can go to the movies with my friends on Friday. Like, what's up? And now that I'm a parent and I work, I'm just like, okay, now I know like what she meant, like she was tired. And I also know what she mean when she said she didn't have no money, because I get it. Like, these 2023 bills is crazy. But
and these 2023 kids, like,
and these 2023 kids.
Like,
yeah, it wasn't.
You could go on a Wednesday and the movie was like $2 Wednesday. Now you can go to the movie, you spend
like $100
just to get in.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell how much it is to get into the movies, because I don't know. I haven't been so long.
Like, ain't y'all glad y'all had Mr. Smith? Listen, Mr. Smith was taking us everywhere, baby.
Yeah, between Mr. Smith and my mom, we was gone.
That little red pickup truck. Come on.
Red pickup truck. He tried to teach me to drive stick, and I was like, I can't understand this. Forget it. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's different. We didn't have nowhere near like all we was worried about was trying to go get the newest CD or the latest concert or going to the movies in the mall.
Poster or
Yeah.
magazine with the poster in it.
Now they won't. Well, you was into like the Jordans and all of that stuff, and you know, but no, it was like now they want the latest iPhones, the latest sneakers. You know, I don't even know what all they into now. They Roblox points, and you know, they need credits for the app store.
She need a wig. She got to go get her installation. Everybody knows I'm natural, so I know nothing about that.
Listen,
I feel for Lottie Dottie the most because she has 3 women. I can't imagine being in a house with 3 women ranging from 16 to 5. Like it's just like, okay, she in her own world over here at 16, but she also got these needs that's gonna break my pocket. And then you got this little one over here that want all this attention. And when I get home, all I want to do is go to sleep.
Amen.
Or lay down.
Amen. It's a constant struggle because I'm always trying to figure this out, or I'm at work and they're talking to me and I'm like, what? Like I'm completely in a daze, like in my head moving numbers. What can I do to be able to accommodate this kid? This kid is in dance now and I need $300 for just rehearsal merch. So
but you do a great job at that. You do.
Yeah, definitely. I must give Dorothy her
round of applause. Make that. Yeah. Make them coins clap. Make them coins clap.
I was gonna say, please don't get up and twerk.
Hey, you would love it if I did it. I got on my cute little short set too. Hey.
Not only that, just dealing with financially. I know you and D Felice, Lady T, you guys have kids that have medical issues. Mine necessarily don't have medical issues. Yes, they have some things that we're working on. My oldest has conducive hearing loss, but my other 2 are ADHD. So that's something else to deal with.
That's a whole monster in itself.
That's a whole thing. So, it constantly juggling in my head like, oh God, what am I going to do? Praying helps. Definitely. Because I don't think I would have made it this far. I'm not strung out. I'm not on drugs. I've never done drugs a day in my life before, thank God. And it'll take you there. It takes me there sometimes where I just want to just
have a glass this. This what I do when I be talking to y'all. Y'all be telling, I be like, baby, I make sure I have my glass before I get on the phone.
Yeah. Because we have our, we talk on the phone on FaceTime multiple times a week. And we're trying to do our workouts, we're trying to have our conversations. You got my kids over here screaming, asking questions or fighting. Dottie kids over there doing the bugging their mama. And D Felice, her kids doing the same thing. And Princess P just sitting back with her glass of wine. It's like, I don't know. I'm kind of glad it ain't me.
Well, I be in it with y'all though. I be trying to help from afar.
From afar. Yeah, it's definitely a struggle.
So what are some is there anything that you all are anticipating between now and 40, so the next year and a half, as it relates to motherhood that you might be freaking out? So for Lottie Dottie, her oldest, a lot of money coming out, senior stuff. Lady T and D Felice, I mean, one has a girl, one has a boy, but they're gonna be in that height of teenagehood, 13, 14, like it's gonna begin. I mean, you got little boys, they gonna start doing little nasty stuff probably, and little girls, I hope they might do some nasty stuff too, but your pocket's gonna start getting, because now she want wigs and all of this stuff. And like, are y'all freaked out about Lottie Dottie's on the tail end of it, but she got one coming right behind to start all over, and then you two are going to move into that phase. As you trying to live your best life, celebrating 40. Like, we've been talking about what we're going to do for 40. Like, we want to go on this big trip. Like, how you manage all of that?
Prayer.
Well, I know for me, I think it's a good time. So Braden's going to be 13 this year. So that's right before I turn, well, I won't turn 40 until the following year. So I think it's a good time for me to deal with like him turning 13 and, whatever he wants to. I think 8th grade, so they'll go on some like trips. I don't think they get rings or nothing in middle school, but they're going to go on, they're going to have prom. They're going to have like a final trip or 8th grade trip or something like that, which, shouldn't be too bad because I do have the support obviously from his dad and then from my mom if need be. So I don't think it's going to be too difficult financially. What I think I'm afraid of is he's becoming a teenager. Like, I don't even want to think about, like, I know he's had little girlfriends or whatever. I met one and it didn't kind of work out, which
I don't like him.
In 7th grade. So, I mean, it really shouldn't have anyway, but I'm just thinking about like, because he is, and I don't really know if people are into astrology like that, but Cancers are really quiet. I'm married to one. They're 2 days apart. So they're like one and the same. They don't really talk a lot. They don't really have a lot of conversations. So I don't really know what Braden's thinking at 12 going into 13. And it's kind of difficult for me to have those conversations with him because, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave that to his dad. Honestly, I don't, we've had conversations together with him about, okay, you're going to start liking girls and you're going to start feeling some things, if she says no, no means no, or, don't let anybody take advantage of you. You don't take advantage of anybody else. I'm really big on no means no, because some people have it in their heads, like, even with Bryce, if I tell him no, he gonna go in there and get it anyway. If I tell him no, you can't have no cereal or no chips, if he want the chips, he gonna go get the chips. And so I'm just really big on no means no, and that's really what I want to like press. Like, I really want him to grasp that. And as for the other two, like, I'm just really looking forward to them being like more independent. So in 2 years, Trinity will be 6, Bryce will be 9. At that point, Bryce can go in there and make Trinity some cereal, and I'll be cool. I get up and make breakfast later. That way. But because they still depend on me to do. Bryce will do it. He will do it. Braden have his moments where if he don't feel like doing it, he gonna give me issues. But Bryce, he'll go in there. Even though him and Trinity like bump heads constantly, they're like, "You want to play Roblox with me? If you don't play Roblox with me, then I'm not gonna be your friend." But at the same time, if she wants chips, he'll go get her some chips. So they have like that relationship. But I'm just looking forward to them being like a little bit more independent on one another versus dependent on me, because I want to kind of get back into my creative side. And I feel like with working a full-time job and then having the 3 kids in their different stages of life, and then trying to do like my entrepreneurship, I'm lacking on my entrepreneurship and my creative side, because I just don't have the mental capacity to do it after work, after giving kids baths, after making dinner. Like, I just don't have it at the end of the day. So that's really what I'm looking forward to as we approach 40.
I have graduation. I got grad badge, what it is, prom. And I believe around that time, Kyla will be in 8th grade and Jayla will be in 12th grade. So it's dual work for me. Ooh. Trying to, do both of them.
Baby, you got 3 options. You better get you another job, start thinking about doing something strange for some change, or find a new dad. Like, hey, I'm just saying, baby, because God dang.
Right. I didn't even realize it was going to hit you like that.
I did. That's why, I lay at night like, how can I move this? Or do I have time for another job? To bring in some supplemental income. Pretty much is I figure it out. Believe me, I will.
And you always do. But I just
Believe
don't want
me, I
I
will.
don't want you to have that stress of going to another job after that saying you do it and it's like, okay, you bringing in the money, but you not having those experiences with your kids because you at the second job at night. You go to the one during the day, then you have another one at night. It's
Okay, so
like,
It's
Tiana
a
just she just eliminated one of your choices. So back strange for some change or find a new day.
I mean, I've
I
done the
was,
two jobs before. It is a lot of work, and I did miss my kids, and I did decide to let that second job go. Um, but it's not easy. When we grew up, I remember $5 used to what get half a tank of gas, like a dollar
no,
five.
not
$20 used to fill my car. $20 used to fill my
$20
little
or
Ford
less.
Escort. Yeah.
So I mean, now it's 35 40. Everything is up. Everything is up, and I'm just trying to keep up.
You
It's
better get
not
on Feet Finder.
okay.
What?
We'll do that another day.
Feet
Um,
Finder. I'm just
or
I
a
think people make
sugar
lucrative
daddy,
money.
or I get that man that's supposed to come in to where my money is my money and his money is my money too. And I can take from him and take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. That
Uh-uh.
is an option as
Oh
well,
God.
not just some
Oh
change,
God.
something strange for some change.
Send it. Pray. I've sent it up to him. Okay.
So, but
D Felice.
I'm looking forward to it all. My daughter will be going to
I'm
junior.
sorry to cut you off, but you're just too damn optimistic. I'm just looking forward to everything, and
wait till you get there.
when my son gets someone pregnant, I'm just gonna embrace
Because
being a grandmother. And when my daughter,
you have to embrace it all. It is like you have to laugh about it. Like it's a journey. Like it's not always pleasant, but I know that it's going to happen. So it's just like, I kind of sort of prepared my mind for that now. But I mean, I have these conversations with my son and my daughter. Like I'm not afraid to answer questions. I may be caught off guard now sometimes. Like my daughter, this was a couple weeks ago, and she's in 5th grade now. So next school year, she'll be going to junior high, and this will be a new environment for her. She even admitted to me that she's, a little apprehensive because, it'll be a different school within the same school district, yes, but different school. Then she's around, it'll be a larger campus, so it's more students. But I just told her it'll just be the same pretty much. You just will have more classes, is what I tell her. But to not go too much off on a tangent, this was about a month ago. She came to me and she told, which I think I did mention this to my other sisters here. She said to me that one of the boys in her classroom asked another girl to give her or him some head, and I said, "Can we say that? That could be. I mean, this is what we deal with now.
Yeah, real and raw talk.
This is what we deal with." And I said, "So he asked your friend that?" I say, "So what did she say?" And she was like, "Well, mommy, she didn't say anything." I was like, "Well, did you ask her anything?" Or I said, "Well, what were your thoughts when you heard him say it?" And so she asked me, she was like, "Well, what is it?" So I went into the explanation of what that was for the female and for the male. And she's just looking at me, and I'm just like, well, mommy's not going to sugarcoat anything for you all. I mean, because you're going to hear worse while you're at school. Now I try to use my medical terms to explain it to them, so it's not as raunchy, kind of, sort of, for their age.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
But so I use the actual term for girls. If they're receiving oral, it's called cunnilingus. If it's boys that's giving the oral, it's called fellatio.
12-year-old know what the hell that mean?
Right, because I'm gonna be honest with you.
But what I'm saying is, I broke it down so that so that she is aware of what it is. I told her that's what a female receives.
Do you use like visuals? Did you say this is the girl's vagina?
No, I didn't use any visuals. I was explaining it. As we call her private area, what she calls her private area. I said, I didn't go into like vivid details, but I gave a synopsis of what it could be. And it was what I did was I called her father. I said, do you want to know what your daughter came home and said to me today? And he was like, what? I said, she came home and asked me, what is getting head mean? And I was like, do you have any thoughts on this? He said, no, he'll have to get back with me on that. He didn't have an answer.
That's gonna be my response too, because that's gonna
he didn't have an answer. He didn't have an answer for that.
Just call D Felice. Let her explain it to him.
Mm-hmm.
She don't have no problem with it.
You're saying that's what her dad should have said? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what we gonna say to our kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, yeah. Because you can't hide it from them. They gonna hear it. They gonna, see. You just never know. So you might as well get them prepared as much as possible, as much as you can for what they may hear, because kids say anything, everything, especially when it comes from social media. Everything is out there, everything. So they have access to so many things. Even if they don't have their electronics for whatever at the time, they're still going to hear about it. So it's you might as well get them as prepared as possible and just continue to have, talks along the way. I have my son who is 9, and my daughter and my son are 19 months apart. So they fight, they play, they fight, they play. It's just a battle ongoing on a daily basis. He says to me all the time, he doesn't know the actual term for them. So when he says, well, mommy, my balls hurt. And I say, well, Miles, why are your balls hurting? I was like, well, were you fondling them? I mean, are your underwear too tight? Like, what? He was like, I don't know. I was like, well, just, maybe take off your underwear for a while and just, leave on your shorts. I mean, just so they can breathe. Like, this is literally what I be saying to them. And he'd be looking at me like, mommy, no. I'm like, but that's what you have to do.
Baby, I'll be in there trying to explain to a 17-year-old, like, it's a fairy tale. Once upon a time in Hornville, there was a little unicorn. And a little unicorn had a special part, a magic stick, that he was not allowed to use until he became an adult. Well, listen, look, they be like, what is she talking about?
Exactly. They're gonna be so confused. They ain't gonna wanna know anymore.
I have found that, especially with girls, we don't name boy parts over here when we don't see penises. So call it what it is. Call it a vagina. We don't give it special names. Your pocketbook. I used to do that, and then I believe I either read somewhere or was told by someone that I should actually use the correct name for it, so that if I am questioning my kids, they know what I'm talking about. As far as a safety standpoint for girls. I don't have any sons. I really don't know like how to go about that. But as far as, the vagina is what it is. It's the vagina. Did somebody touch your vagina? Does your vagina hurt? What's going on? So I think we should, if it's a penis, it's a penis. The vagina and the penis, they go like this, and whatever it is. I'm talking about putting the mouth on his penis, pretty much.
Kids will say the darndest things, and because they're just going to ask questions because they're curious, and then they get to an age to whereas, like I said, they're hearing and they're seeing things, and they're going to want to know what it is. And I know we got to get back to our focal point, but the thing is, you got to make it teachable moments at the same time when you're a parent, and especially if you got both sexes, a boy and a girl, so you get to experience both of what they're beginning to experience, and then what they're going to later face down the line. Just to make you all laugh, my son will say sometimes, mommy, can I switch my balls out? And I'm like, no, Mom, you can't switch them out. You can't switch them out. They're stuck with you, son. The only way that you can switch them out is if you have some sort of surgery. But no, you can't just take them out. So they're yours to keep.
Like, what led up to that moment? Like, why did he want to switch those out? Were they hurting?
I have no idea. I think it just be random questions. I guess he gets that from his mother because y'all know I'm very random, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he'll just
We do know that.
he'll just come and ask me. And like I said, I be caught off guard, but then I be laughing in my head. I'm like, let me just go ahead and answer. And then I answer the best way that I can. So it's just like, you have to be prepared. And a lot of times you're not. But it's like as mothers, you be in so many situations, you just roll with it. So you're going to give, the answer that you think that they're going to best understand at that moment, which is usually a funny answer, but they get it in a way that they can understand at their age.
In the intro, I kind of touched on, us as Black women, some of the things that, or alluded to some of the things that we face, right? Being Black women, some of the challenges as we get older, racial issues, the different stereotypes. As mothers, we know that there are some things that plague our community. You think about the Black Lives Matter movement, you think about the feminist movement, you think about the Me Too movement, you think about, this rhetoric coming out about, Black women being the least protected, the least defended, but the most sexualized. We talk about, we hear about, Black men being racially profiled and, not given a fair shot, etc. For you, Lottie Dottie, you have three girls. Lady T and D Felice, you guys have both boys and girls. Do you guys ever think about those movements kind of within our own communities or just on a national scale, the things that we are dealing with as Americans, like how that's going to impact, your children? And if so, like how do you feel about that? What are some things that you think about as you look to the future?
I haven't really thought about it very much. I do want to say that when I did name my kids, I did want to give them names that wouldn't necessarily stereotype them. So if they were to send in a resume and they were to look at the resume and say, okay, well, this is such and such and such, I don't want them to think, oh, he's Black, we're not going to pick him. As far as uh, the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, I'm really more so concerned about Braden the most because if I'm honestly speaking, he looks like a stereotypical Black man. All kids wear hoodies. It doesn't matter the race, Black, white, Hispanic, boy or girl. They all wear hoodies in 100-degree weather.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but the way he wears his hair, like, he's a typical teenager, but he's a Black teenager. And he doesn't really know how to express himself. And to me, someone would take advantage of that. He wouldn't know how to defend himself if he was presented with a situation where, someone called him such and such and such, or someone was trying to say, oh, he stole this because he looked like this person, when it's a lot of people that look exactly like him. Like when I drive past the school from the back, they all look the same. The way they wear their hair, the hoodies, the backpack, the shoes, they all look the same. So I'm more so concerned about him as he's going into the teenage years and he wants to explore more about himself. Like when we were younger, we can go out with our friends without our parents, and our parents wouldn't really be concerned. But I really don't really allow him to go out with his friends or anything because I'm just afraid that something's gonna happen. Like I've let him go out once and I tracked him. He was only gone for maybe like an hour and a half, and he was right up the street from the house. But I tracked him the entire way, and his dad was like, "Okay, he's been gone for such and such time. I'm sure the movie's over by now. Like he needs to come home because it's just that scary out there for a Black male."
I think about mainly my teenager who's getting ready to experience life on her own. And she very specifically said to me, she was very specific when she said this, is that she's going away to school. She does not want to be home. So, I'm worried that maybe I didn't expose her enough to the real world, kind of had her sheltered because I want to protect my kid. I want to make sure that she's okay and no hurt, harm, or danger come towards her. And I don't know if I'm doing a disservice by being overprotective for her. Um, when we look at the news, or I'll send her little things that I see, I'll ask her about it, like, well, how do you feel about this? And she's very opinionated, so I don't think I have to worry about her sticking up for herself. But um I'm just worried the world is not the world that I knew. It's very different, and it scares me as a mom. Will my daughter be able to handle herself the way that I would, or maybe even better than what I've done? So, I no doubt believe that she'll be successful, but that don't mean I'm not gonna cry a whole lot. And that don't mean I'm not gonna be
I'll be
worried.
there. I'll be there to help you.
That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be worried.
But just,
I
and I think,
just trust in the process.
and I think a big part of that process, and the only thing, you can impart on her, like if she were my daughter, or if I was feeling like how you're feeling, or what I tell people, like I'm big on communication. Like, just because she leaves the home, like home is still always there. And the phone is always on. And tell her, don't let her pride get in the way. It don't matter. We all make mistakes. We all have messed up.
Yep.
And she's going to, like, that's what college is about. That's what getting older is about. You make mistakes, you learn from them, and she don't have to do that alone. And just just encourage her, to do that.
Absolutely.
To say, yeah, I think if I was a parent, I would definitely be concerned about all of this. I would probably be like a crazy parent too, like not not like helicopter parent crazy, but like I would be that mom that would be telling my kid, like, if somebody put their hands on you, you waylay their ass. And when they take you down to the office, tell them you plead the fifth and call me. And I'll be down there and I'll tell them I'll handle my child, but I want to know what made my child waylay your child. And if the parents want to get it, it'll be mama and daughter, or mama and son waylaying the fuck out of all their ass. Like, we riding. I surely would.
Oh
That's
my
just,
God.
yeah, I'd be
Not nowadays. They bring the weapons on campus.
like, I would black out. Like, if I got a phone call that somebody hit my kid or did some of the stuff that you see like people like go viral for, and like, nah, baby, I'm coming with the smoke, because like I'm it's gonna be up by that, like, for real. Principles, like, everybody going down.
Right.
And if I got a good kid and my kid don't mess with nobody, but other kids want to mess with my kid, and my kid done been letting your kid slide, and they go off finally, or I go off, like, baby, I don't want to hear nothing, because if my kid could come to school and behave, I feel like them kids can come to school and behave. So I don't even let me talk to the parents, because I want to know
But it's
what
not
they
always about altercation that they can have. Like where Jayla goes, it's a lot of the racist thing. They play the race card there. I believe that the school is more tailored to whites, Latinos versus the black kids, and it is quite a few black kids there. But it for us, I don't think I was experienced to the whole division of race, because the way we grew up, shit, our friends, we loved everybody. Our clique,
Yeah.
we had some of everybody. We had the
Sure.
Spanish people who was down to ride with us, and that wasn't a problem. But I know, like, with her, she has experienced the separation. She can clearly see the separation, even in the groups. Like, the cheerleaders who are predominantly Latino may get more funds from the school versus the Black History Club,
Mm.
Right.
or
But I
versus
mean that
Black dancers who are, they're there too and they're participating in the same things, but a lot of the money and the time and even the
mhm.
uniforms are different for them.
I mean, but unfortunately it's sad, but that's,
Yeah.
the way of
That's a real reality.
the
That's
world.
but that wasn't our reality.
But yeah,
You
but see,
know.
I'd be that parent that if my child come home and be like, "Oh, mom, they called me the N word," I'd be like,
Oh,
"What you call
oh,
them
I'm
back?
out there. I'm out
What you
there.
called them back?" Because
I'm
I'd be
out
like,
there.
"Call them back something back." I surely would.
I
And
am
I
out
make
there.
sure I call the principal and I'm gonna let the principal know, listen, put this little note in your bag and show it to all your teachers. I instructed my child that if somebody called them out their name or racial name, I instructed them to call the person back another racial bad name. Okay. Miss P, they be like, listen, they're gonna learn today.
Right.
People who do stuff like that do it because they know that they can get away with it.
Right.
So I'm gonna shut all that down. And I don't know who it is. I done been out to my niece's school, my nephew's school, baby. I'm their auntie. I'm pulling up. They done had to say, please, don't come, please don't come. And I'm like, you sure? What you gonna do? Tell me what you gonna do,
And
and I'm
Jada
gonna
is
ask
been
about
that
it.
way. She's like, "Oh, mom, don't come to the school." But if there's something, if you're telling me, that means you feel uncomfortable about it. As far as sisterhood events, I just want to touch on Flo Rida, who is from Miami. Um, it's not great news, but we want to keep their family in prayers. Their son with his ex, Alexis Adams, the son suffered a fall from a fifth floor story building. And that apparently happened earlier in the month, but we're just finding out about it. And it is, it, he's in ICU. So we
Yeah.
want to keep that family in prayer. Keep that family in prayer and keep his son in prayer, Zohar Dillard in prayer, and hopefully he pulls through. Mom is doing everything that she can as a single mother, being
Yeah.
there for her child as she should. So we definitely want to send some prayers up for them.
Well, for her, because isn't
Well, both of them, for
that,
mom to
Mm,
be able to
but
continue,
isn't that the
and
same
then
child that he supposedly like?
that's what we heard.
I said supposedly.
allegedly.
I said
Allegedly.
supposedly.
That's what we heard.
Right.
But,
So, definitely shouts out, and thoughts and prayers to her. That's just a tough situation to be in just in general, but to definitely, you know, um be in it alone. And if she's not alone, like it'd be interesting to kind of know if he is around, if
yeah.
the stories are true that he has not been around, but now all of a sudden he's around. It kind of makes you wonder, like, is this for publicity? Is this a guilty heart? Whatever the case may be. But definitely, I hope there's some good news at the end of this for her,
Yes, perfectly.
for sure.
But the quote, just to continue to encourage my fellow Black queens and other queens around the world, whenever you're going through something, or whenever you're feeling down or feeling like you may not be good enough in depending on the situation, just adjust your crown and handle whatever business it is that you have to do, and then get back to your center.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I
Beautiful.
like that.
Just your crown. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And
Handle your business.
And take a little peek in the mirror. Make sure you still cute. And keep it moving, baby. Get it on. Handle your business. Okay, I like it.
Y'all see the devil is busy over here in my realm because I can't, won't let me get back on. Now I see you when we're over.
So I really think that was a really good episode, the first segment to the Road to 40 series, touching on motherhood and the struggles or the happiness that we have with motherhood. And I think that with motherhood and career, another thing that we have to juggle is our love life and dating and what comes with that. So that is going to be what we will be discussing on the next episode of Sisterhood Revived. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode.
I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes. And hopefully we do the series justice with what we're talking about. You know, as you guys watch us, if there's anything you want us to talk about, if we've missed something, please feel free to engage, you know, slide into the DMs, appropriate stuff only. Okay. Please engage.
Or drop us a comment.
Yeah, jump into the comments. Please share. You know, we really just enjoy talking with each other. Obviously, we've been doing this for 25 years. And we really hope that, you know, we can just showcase a little bit about, you know, what we're doing as sisters and sharing our friendship with you all. And hopefully it's valuable, you know, information. So yeah, just, you know, let us know if there's anything you want to see. Like, share, comment. Happy Sisterhood Sunday.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.